A proclamation. Whereas we believe in the joyful, transformative power of the human canine bond and inclusivity of all citizens. And whereas in the United States, 70 million adults have a disability and only 16,000 service dogs from accredited training programs exist nationwide, and the need is growing. And whereas Canine Companions created the service dog for people with physical disabilities 50 years ago in 1975, creating a new kind of support for disability. And whereas Canine Companions is a nonprofit organization that enhances the lives of people with disabilities by providing expertly trained service dogs and ongoing support to ensure quality partnerships free of charge. And whereas Canine Companions and their service dogs empower people with disabilities to lead life with greater independence by providing best-in-class training, ongoing follow-up services, and a deeply committed community of support. And whereas National Service Dog Month aims to educate our community about the benefits of service dogs and the laws protecting their handlers, and whereas the people in San Marcos continue to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens and their trained service dogs are embraced. Now, therefore, I, Jane Hewson, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of San Marcos, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2025 as National Service Dog Month, and do hereby call upon all residents of San Marcos to celebrate service dogs and be respectful of the rights to safe access in our community afforded to the adults, children, and veterans who lead more independent lives because of their assistance. Oh my, thank y'all for what you do. And would you like to say a few words? Anybody? Y'all good?
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
All right. In that case, we're going to do that. A proclamation. Whereas every spring and fall, hundreds of millions of birds pass through the state of Texas. And whereas it is important to recognize that this massive migration of birds occurs at night. And whereas these birds must contend with a rapidly increasing but still under-recognized threat, light pollution. Light attracts and disorients these migrating birds, confusing them and making them vulnerable to collisions with buildings and other urban threats. And whereas turning off or dimming lights dramatically reduces hazards and disorientation by light, allowing birds to safely proceed with their migratory journeys. And whereas Lights Out Texas is a statewide initiative that asks Texans to turn off or dim non-essential lights to support birds during their spring and fall migrations. And whereas the city of San Marcos is a community that cares about protecting wildlife and the environment, and whereas the city of San Marcos has joined the Lights Out Texas initiative for the spring and fall migration period by turning off or dimming non-essential lights on municipal buildings from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. during critical migration periods. Now, therefore, I, Jane Hewson, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of San Marcos, Texas, do hereby proclaim August 15th through November 30th of 2025 as the time for Lights Out for bird safety, and do hereby call upon all citizens of San Marcos to encourage residences and businesses to turn off or dim non-essential lighting between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. each day. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Is there something you would like to say?
Thank you. So San Marcos is an important stopover for migratory birds. And as a bird city, Texas, we want to protect those birds on their long and often perilous journey. One simple way we can do that is by encouraging residents and businesses to turn out non-essential lighting between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. During fall and spring migration periods. This can reduce window collision fatalities of migratory birds by 60%. Let's do our part to help birds. You can find out more ways to help birds by visiting the San Marcos Discovery Center website and clicking on Bird Friendly Community. Thank you.
Most informative proclamation I've ever heard.
And call to action. Let's get ready for the photo now. Alrighty. A proclamation. Whereas in 2023, suicide was the 11th leading cause of death overall in the United States and the second leading cause of death among individuals 10 to 34 years, as reported by the Centers for Disease Control, CDC. And whereas in the United States in 2023, over 49,000 individuals died by suicide. And whereas suicide rates increased approximately 36% in the United States from the year 2000 to 2023, and whereas in 2023, an estimated 12.8 million adults aged 18 years or older reported having serious thoughts of suicide, and 1.5 million adults attempted suicide in the past year from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health. And whereas in 2023, 2 in 10 high school students seriously considered attempting suicide, and almost 1 in 10 high school students reported that they had made at least one suicide attempt in the past year from Youth Risk Behavior Survey. And whereas over 90% of the people who die by suicide have a diagnosable and potentially treatable mental health condition, although often that condition is not recognized or treated. And whereas if someone can get through the intense and short moment of an active suicidal crisis, they are unlikely to ultimately die from suicide. And whereas asking someone directly if they're thinking about suicide will not put the idea in their head, and most will be relieved that someone starts a conversation. And whereas most people who survive a suicide attempt, which is 85 to 95%, go on to engage in life. And whereas everyone has a role to play in preventing suicide and can learn suicide risks and warning signs and encourage those who struggle to seek help. And whereas organizations such as the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention envision a world without suicide and were dedicated to saving lives and bringing hope to those affected by suicide through research, education, advocacy, and resources for those who have lost someone to suicide or struggled themselves. Now, therefore, I, Jane Houston, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of San Marcos, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2025 as National Suicide Prevention and Action Month, and do hereby call upon all the people of San Marcos to recognize that we need to take care of our mental health while we take care of each other. Thank you for bringing this to us, and thank you for your participation and what you're doing to help people through some difficult situations. Give that to y'all.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for having us. I just wanted to say we're delighted to be here and to have an opportunity to recognize September as Suicide Prevention Month. My name's Amy Lowry. I'm the clinic director at our San Marcos Mental Health Clinic here in San Marcos off of Bishop Street. And I came with our fabulous team here. So sometimes our work is very challenging. I do want to just give a shout out to all of the team members and all the great things that they've done just to provide some support. We also have our mobile crisis outreach team lead here. So he's doing a great job to provide that in the moment crisis care when needed. I often get the question of, why are you doing such a challenging job? And it can be challenging, but I think we all do that because it's just also the most rewarding job that we could have. So although it can be challenging at times, very rewarding. And we all can help with suicide prevention. It is preventable. And honestly, just reaching out to your neighbor, your coworker, your friend, and checking in is really even a part of doing what you can to provide some support to each other, and just being kind and compassionate with one another. Oftentimes, that's what individuals need just to kind of get through those tough times that we all go through. So I wanted to share the 988, the crisis hotline, as well as there's a text line that's a 741-741, and you just text home, and you can also receive free crisis and suicide prevention support. So thank you so much again.
Thank you for bringing us that important information. We appreciate it. We have a proclamation. Whereas emergency preparedness is a national priority with the goal of shared safety and resilience, and whereas the state of Texas historically leads the nation in the number of federally declared disasters, be they natural disasters, technological, or human-caused. And whereas Emergency Preparedness Month is an opportunity for the City of San Marcos to inform and educate the residences, businesses, schools, and communities in the city to be more prepared by developing the capabilities needed to prevent, protect against, respond to, recover from, and mitigate against threats and hazards. And whereas emergency preparedness is the responsibility of every resident of San Marcos, and San Marcos residents are encouraged to take intentional, precautionary measures to ensure the resilience of their families, homes, community, and businesses. And whereas Emergency Preparedness Month is also an opportunity to reiterate our gratitude for the selfless service of the brave men and women who help prepare our city for disasters and take action when they strike. Our first responders, critical infrastructure and other frontline workers, and disaster response volunteers often take great personal risks to perform their duties. These individuals, personally and collectively, are essential to the security of our city, and we remain committed to supporting them in their mission. And whereas personal, business, animal, and private sector preparedness may serve to mitigate the impacts of various incidents, emergencies, and disasters in the city. And whereas promoting a culture of resilience through preparedness helps enable communities and individuals to take the preparatory actions necessary to overcome the threats and hazards that present themselves. And whereas during Emergency Preparedness Month, we encourage all the people of San Marcos to adopt a proactive mindset and take the necessary steps to prepare their families and communities to withstand and recover from unexpected events. We cannot always know when the next crisis will occur, but we can know that we'll be prepared by committing ourselves to a culture of resilience. Now, therefore, I, Jane Houston, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of San Marcos, Texas, do hereby declare September 2025 as Emergency Preparedness Month, and do hereby call upon all the people of San Marcos to take action to be prepared for a disaster or an emergency by encouraging all residents, businesses, schools, and communities to develop emergency preparedness and resiliency plans and to register at Warren Central, Texas, to receive emergency alerts.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to promote the 8th Annual Preparedness Fair that is being held in Kyle at the La Verde Park from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be live bands, a chili cook-off, and there'll be multiple booths where you'll get information about being prepared for specific hazards such as flooding, tornadoes, and other things of that nature. Thank you.
And thank you what you and our whole emergency department do, because we know it's not if, it's when.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
A proclamation. I'm going to explain this one. I usually don't have to explain these, but I do. The proclamation is going to say Senior Center Awareness Month. But the point is the activities that go on inside senior centers. And we've got some folks that provide wonderful information for seniors, and they do it in shared places, such as parks facilities, the library. Sometimes you don't ever know where there's going to be an activity or information for seniors. So that's why, even though y'all are not specifically senior center, y'all are offering the programs. That's the whole point of this proclamation. So now I'll read. And also, just to know that the 10 County Capital Area Council of Governments is the home of the Area Agency on Aging. So, proclamation. Whereas the 10 County Capital Area Council of Governments, CAPCOG, region is home to more than 399,967 citizens aged 60 years or older who may be at risk of social isolation and nutritional insecurity. And whereas the Surgeon General has identified loneliness as a national epidemic, and whereas senior centers are places where people gather, support one another, and build community. And whereas our Parks and Recreation Department provides programs for seniors, with 623 attending one or more events since reopening after COVID. Starting the week every Monday afternoon is game day, which includes bridge, Mexican train, dominoes, and mahjong. Other events throughout the month include bingo, trivia, Jeopardy, and bowling. Adding up persons per events is 4,121 registrations, and they also offer special events such as the Golden Sweethearts Ball. And whereas the mission of the Lifelong Learning Program is to provide accessible, no-cost, low-cost experiences for San Marcos area older adults to explore, question, learn, and engage with others, and since they began their classes and workshops 10 years ago, they have offered over 2,000 classes by 159 instructors with 20,400 registrations. So far this year, they've offered 127 classes by 21 instructors for 1,765 registrations. And whereas through July of this year, the public library offered 127 events for seniors, with a total attendance of 1,389. Their weekly offerings include a caregiver support group, technology help, functional fitness and memoir writing classes, as well as monthly and special events such as book clubs, tax preparation help, and information sessions on Medicare, dementia, and other health topics. In addition, thus far in 2025, the library has offered 385 adult events with strong senior participation, with a total of attendance of over 4,000. These included art classes, a chess club, a writers group, craft groups, gardening information, yoga, and community dialogues. And whereas continued funding authorized by the Older Americans Act of 1965 for the senior centers in the region supports services and benefits for older adults, caregivers, family members, and the community at large. And whereas CAPCOG, in its efforts to increase awareness and promote strategies to increase senior participation, to increase the number of senior centers throughout the region, and in support of efforts to reduce loneliness in the aging population, in partnership with the Area Agency on Aging. Now, therefore, I, Jane Houston, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of San Marcos, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of September 25 as Senior Center Awareness Month and related activities, and do hereby call upon all persons of San Marcos to support awareness of the positive impact senior centers have with the communities throughout the CAPCOG region, and to promote the 2025 theme, Powering Possibilities, Flip the Script, which invites us to challenge outdated perceptions of aging in senior centers. It celebrates the dynamic role that the centers play in fostering creativity, connection, purpose, and resilience in later life, and all the related programs. Thanks for what you all do. Our community is aging. We have a lot of people who are of the older persuasion moving in town. So thank y'all for remembering us old people.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I do want to give thanks to Nick and Mary Ann for the work that they do with all of our activities at the Activity Center. You know, it's called the San Marcos Activity Center. It's really a de facto senior center. And I was running through some numbers on memberships. There's so many members that are seniors. And the average was 171 seniors go through those doors each day on an average year. You know, and so that's engaging them. They're staying active. Socially, physically, mentally, emotionally, and that's such an important aspect of aging in our community. And we do have a vast number of seniors who bring, you know, such knowledge to our community, education, you know, compassion for others, all the great things about being a senior citizen. But it's folks like these and the folks at the Georgia Street Center who ensure that those services are delivered and that we are engaging those senior citizens so that they can enjoy those golden years of their life that we all strive to get to. So thank you, Mayor. Yep.
I guess the only thing I'd want to add is that being a university town, it's nice that we have these programs available since our university, at this point at least, I think new leadership is rethinking outreach for the senior citizens, the older adults here in San Marcos. We need, as Jane said, the population's growing, and then that means the need is growing. So we appreciate having the retired faculty work with us, and hopefully the university will engage even more so with us. But having the activity center and the library as venues for opportunities like our program, Lifelong Learning, we use those, and we thank you for that. So you're aging, think of us.
No, I'm good. You guys covered it all.
All right.